start with? Louis Starkweather is going to give a speech today on why soccer is better than football. You should listen to Joey because he has great experience in soccer. He's played 8 years and he's played 4 years on travel. Here's Joey Starkweather.
Hello, I'm going to tell you why I think that soccer is better than football. Soccer began in places such as Australia, Rome, and China. Soccer was so popular at the time that even the famous physician and writer Gay Lynn wrote about it saying, better than wrestling and running because it exercises every part of the body, takes up little time, and costs nothing. It was profitable training and strategy. It could be played with varying degrees of strenuousness. Galen adds that when, for example, people face each other, vigorously attempting to prevent each other from taking space between, this exercise is a very heavy, vigorous one, involving much of the use of the whole body neck and many wrestling holds. To do training for football, the team mainly works on the strength and muscle, while for soccer, you train as a team and work on foot skills and not just on the strength. And you also work on endurance. Soccer is fun to just go to a friend's house and have a pickup game because you don't need any special equipment. You don't even need to have a net. You can just mark it with a stick or a rock. And to play an actual game of football, you need to have a bunch of padding so that you don't get hurt and get tackled. Unless you play touch football, which isn't exactly the same as actual football. Football fans say, most people say that it's more hardcore because it is. Well, football is more hardcore if you're saying that almost every single game, one player gets thrown into the ground and hurt. You're right. But what I'm saying is that soccer is more hardcore because you can develop more skills by not playing just one position on the field, but playing different ones and developing more skills. Have you ever seen a kicker on a football team play a liner? That wouldn't end pretty. So that's what I'm saying about soccer. It's better than football. Thank you. Our next speaker tonight is Christian Birchma, who this year has entertained us with many funny and interesting stories, which might come from him living in a family of 10, and surprised me by having survived this long. And he will be telling you about snow. Here he is.
Imagine walking all alone in your garden at night. You see a shadow moving. Suddenly, you're viciously attacked by wicked gremlins. Don't worry, this won't happen to you if you have the garden's #1 protector, the garden. They are essential for protection from evil magic, as well as the icon in popular culture. In their physical form, they appear as small yet potent humans. They are not only used for aesthetics, but fundamental protection from evil sorcery. Every night, your gardener fights silent but brutal battles with gremlins, wolves, and purple wizards. I'll tell you a little known history. The first known king was Spain the Great. After winning his kingdom and islands, he and his gnomes settled down. Eventually, however, Spain became so obsessed with the more pleasurable aspects of its royalty that he cared for little else, and his people grew poor and disconsolate. Under the guidance of a certain wizard, many gnomes immigrated to a more northerly island. After driving out the wolf inhabitants, they settled down and became the 3 types of gnomes we have today: the wood gnomes, the garden gnomes, and the mountain gnomes. Several times, the wolves and gremlins under evil powers tried to take the island, but failed every time. I'm actually writing a book series about just one of those times, if that gives you an idea of how complex it is. In about 110 AD, the gnomes began to colonize Europe. They first made their European appearance in Germany, usually in the form of wood carving. first move in their planned global domination. However, a horrible misunderstanding has been made. Millions of people, some of you are in this room, think that gnomes are just lumps of baked clay and nothing more. But few people realize the potency of gnomes' existence and have a driving impact. This is why they are so popular, even among non-believers. They're so popular that in France, an organization has been started called the Garden Gnome Liberation Movement. These men conspire and steal thousands of garden gnomes every year. They expropriate them under the pretense of freeing them from forced labor in the garden and return them to their natural habitats. Some say these valiant men are insane, but I take this as a sign that the gnomes have grown in respect, thus furthering their campaign. So take your side today. Do you believe that gnomes are just lumps of baked clay, or do you believe there's something more than these wonderful creatures? I'll let you think about it. She is an accomplished writer like myself and has won 5 Grammy Awards, hosted her own cooking show, and will be presenting a speech, an informative speech, on bees and their behavioral issues. And if anyone of you doubts her credibility, you can come and speak with me later. Thank you.
Now, most of you here, your first instinct when you see a little black and yellow striped insect would be do exactly what I just did there. I'm here to tell you some good logical reasons why you should not do the stupid thing I just did. Hi, I'm Margaret, and I'm here to enlighten you all on the ways of those little black and yellow striped insects we know as bees. The insects that puzzle me the most are bees. I have numerous questions to ask about them, but tonight I've narrowed this down to 3, which I will answer to you. My first question was, what do bees do? To be a bee lives constantly in occupational hazards. Birds, assassin bugs, house spiders, these are all predators to bees. But what do? They play a huge role in pollinating flowering plants. Bees either focus on gathering pollen or gathering nectar. It really depends on the demand. It has been estimated that 1/3 of the human food supply depends on insect pollination, the most of which is done by bees. And we know that they make nectar. My next question was, how do they make honey? Honeybees first transform things called saccharides into honey by a process called regurgitation, a number of times until it's partially digested. Bees do regurgitation as a group until it is partially digested. After the last regurgitation, the solution is still high in water, so the process continues by evaporation. Honey is produced by bees as a food source in cold weather or when fresh food stores are stored. Bees use their stored honey as a energy source. My last question was, where do they do it? Well, you've all heard or seen a thing called a beehive. Well, that is the main office or regular working place for a honeybee or bumblebee. A beehive is an enclosed structure in which honeybee species live and raise their young. Natural beehives are naturally occurring structures occupied by honeybee pollinators, while domesticated honeybees live in man-made structures. Bees are incredible insects, and we as a race should be happy to have them. So the next time you see bees, don't do what I just did, because it may be small and it may be able to sting you, but it is doing its job of pollinating 1/3 of your food. So, I hope you walk away a changed person. Thank you for listening.